We're going. All right, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the second annual Red Bull Rapid Ascent Speed Climbing Competition. We're here at Base Camp Climbing Gym at Whitney Peak Hotel. This event is hosted by Red Bull. Thanks so much to all of them for putting on this fantastic competition. Due to weather, we bumped it up an hour, so we're going to get started here as quickly as possible to try and beat any wind and rain so that the climbing competition can be completed. The way this competition works is it's a head-to-head bracket-style speed climbing competition up the tallest climbing wall in the world. That is 164 feet of speed climbing that these climbers have to do, and in the end, the final 4 climbers will be climbing it for a total of three times throughout the round. So they're going to be doing a lot of climbing tonight. They're going to be climbing at speed, trying to beat each other out. And we'll see who wins. The way it works is that the 2 climbers will race to the top. 1 from each team will race each other to the top. And then the second climber from the team will then race the other climber. And the combined scores, combined times, will decide who moves on to the next round. So in the interest of time and attempts to beat the weather, let's get this thing started. The first 2 teams we have out today from Bracket A are the Senders and the Booch Boys. Let's bring out the first climbers. We're just getting set up. Everybody's trying to get warm. Like I said, they're going to be racing to the top of this climbing wall here on the outside of the Whitney Peak Hotel. It's the tallest climbing wall in the world. And while the route for these strong climbers is on the easier end, they are climbing at speed, which means they're climbing as fast as they can, try and beat out the other team while also maintaining some energy for the following rounds. The holds you see on the wall, the path they're going to be following are the red and blue holds. These holds were sent to us by Kilter Climbing Grips, one of the sponsors of this Red Bull Rapid Ascent competition. So a big thanks to Kilter for those holds. So we're getting set up here. Again, we have the Senders, and for the Senders, first climber is going to be Dylan Smith, and on the other side we've got the Booch Boys. And for the Booch Boys climbing, we are going to be having Ross Fulkerson. They're just getting tied in now, getting prepared and doing their best to stay warm. It is pretty windy out here. And as I said before, we've got a little bit of a storm front rolling in, but it's not going to stop these climbers from doing their face-to-face, head-to-head battle race to the top.
If you can tell him who's on the screen, then he can roll in the lower third with the name.
Who's on the screen?
Oh. So like this is what's on program, this is preview. So when you see that
shot is good, can't record your line.
All right, the climbers are getting ready. On the blue side for the Booch Boys, we have Ross Fulkerson. And on the red side for the Senders, we have Dylan Smith. They're getting ready to go. Again, this is a head-to-head race to the top. These guys will be racing 164 feet. And they're getting ready to go. And they're off. They are pacing themselves because they've got a lot of climbing to do. Earlier in the afternoon, they were testing these routes and practicing the climb. The strategy here is to keep an eye on the climber behind you so that you can maintain a decent speed without wearing yourself out. And I'm sure as they reach the top, they are bound to punch the gas and turn up the speed. They've made it to the first pitch. That's the first 70 feet of climbing. Dylan Smith is from Lodi, California. He's a local here and does climb at Rocksport. His teammate's name is Keenan Hart. He will be climbing just after. It appears that Ross Fulkerson has an early lead, making his way up the wall. But Dylan's not far behind him, both of them conserving some energy, getting past this overhung lip here. And for those of you in the crowd, it really helps these guys speed up with a little bit of cheering. So let's get loud, cheer these guys on. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Ross has reached the first overhung lip here, getting up past it, with Dylan Smith close on his heels. Ross is from the Bay Area. He is a youth climber and has competed in nationals and he's also a member of the U.S. climbing team. The time clock is just above the door, so we can see that they've been climbing now for quite a bit. They're reaching the top. We've got Dylan just pulling the lip. Ross is conserving some energy because he's got a little bit of a lead. At the top, there's a timer sensor that shuts off the time, so they have to make it all the way to the top and slap that in order to stop the timer. If one of them falls, that time does not count. And it is a combined time of both teammates to move on to the next round. Ross finished. So far, the Booch boys are in the lead with the Senders just behind them. Again, this is a combined time, so even though Ross has finished, Dylan still needs to get to the top in order for his time to count, because if by chance Ross's teammate Tim happens to slip on his way up, his time does not count, and therefore Dylan's teammate will have the opportunity to then bump the Senders into the next round. So Dylan Smith is still trying to get to the top of this. And again, even though these guys are experienced climbers, it's not every day that you get to climb 164 feet. So it is extremely tiring even for these experienced climbers. Also, keep in mind, as the weather is pretty chilly here, once you get up, it gets a little windy. These guys are probably fighting off a little bit of cold in their hands. So as soon as Dylan Smith finishes, he's going to be lowered down, and that means that Ross Fulkerson and Dylan Smith will then go inside, and their teammates, Tim Kang for the Booch boys, and Keenan Hart for the Senders will come out. The teammates will swap opposite sides, so we'll then have the Senders on the red side and the Booch boys over on the blue side. Sorry, I got that opposite. So the Booch boys will be on the red side and the Senders will be on the red side. Dylan Smith did make it to the top. He's just being lowered down, and then we'll bring out their teammates, swap them over, and get them started. While we have this second, I do want to give a big thanks to some of our sponsors, one of them being Adidas Outdoor. They provided some discounts to the competitors for competing today, as well as some prizes along with that. Which guy's homeboy with the ponytail? Like, I need a name. Hey, what's your name? I'm Ryan. Ryan? Yeah. Last name? Koshin. K-O-C-H-I-N. Okay, cool, thanks. Give us just a minute as we get these two climbers swapped over. So Ryan, coach, and stepping in for you. All right, cool. So now both climbers are down. They're just getting swapped over. Again, the Boosh boys will be. I can't hear it out here. The Boosh boys will be changing team members. So Tim King will be climbing over on the red side, and then the teammate for the Senders will be climbing over on the blue side. Along with Adidas Outdoors, this one of the sponsors of our comp. Also, there's Black Diamond, who brought their truck down and is sitting on a comfortable Black Diamond crash pad bench. You know, go over and see them if you're here, and definitely check out all of these sponsors. They are the reason that we can put these on, and they definitely help the competitors have some reason for doing this on top of just competitive nature. So thanks to all our sponsors. Again, one of them being Adidas Outdoor and Black Diamond, and thank you to them for coming out. So these climbers are almost ready, getting them ready for the second score of this first round of Bracket A. Again, it is the Booch Boys against the Senders. Can we get a round of applause for the Booch Boys and the Senders? Get these next competitors psyched to get up this wall. We have Keenan Hart over on the blue route, and we've got Tim King over on the red route. Keenan Hart is a Reno local. And if you're watching on the live stream, that's Tim King there. He is out of the Bay Area. He climbs at Planet Granite Sunnyvale and is also a USAC competitor. These Booch boys are a force to be reckoned with. They are both USAC competitors. They have competed in speed climbing, sport climbing, bouldering. These guys are well-rounded athletes, compete year after year, and are one of the teams to watch as we move through these rounds and these brackets. And also, for anybody who's standing down on the street, if you guys need to take a little bit of that cold off, we have Roundabout Catering standing down there with the white bar tops, and they are selling beer and sodas and drinks and some other things. So go ahead and visit that booth there and get yourself something tasty. We've got both climbers on the wall right now. Keenan Hart's trying to make up some time, trying to bump his team from second place into that first place, keep themselves in the running. Ross had a pretty good start, so Keenan's going to have to make up some serious time here in order for them not to be bumped out of this round. But again, as I said, Tim King and Ross Fulkerson are both seasoned competitors, and it's going to be tough to beat them. I mean, Tim's already on that second route, cruising up the red side. The route setters here at base camp did their absolute best to make these routes as identical as possible, and again, thanks to Kilter for sending holds that matched up, so we were able to do that. Thank you, Kilter. So Tim has approached the lip of the first overhang. He's just pulling over the top. Keenan Hart is getting close, but he does need to be able to beat the Booch boys here, which isn't looking possible unless Tim slips. So Tim's now just playing the hold on tight game and make it to the top. Keenan just made it over the lip, cruising on up. Just a little background. Oh, here we go. Tim has made it to the top, securing the advancement of the Booch boys to the next round. However, in the interest of good sportsmanship, it appears Keenan is going to press his way all the way to the top. Let's get a round of applause for Tim and Ross, the Booch boys, who have clinched their way into the second round. Again, those of you on the street, go over to the Roundabout Catering booth there in the middle and grab yourselves a beverage so you're not just standing out there thirsty, staring up at the sky. Kudos to all of you who made it out to the competition today. I know it's cold, a little bit rainy, but you guys are looking warm. Everybody brought their jackets. Most of the people brought their jackets. And here we go. Keenan Hart is up at the top. Just got to make another move or two. And he has finished. Let's get a round of applause for the senders. Good job, guys. So again, there's just going to be a little bit of a time gap here as we get these climbers switched over. The Booch boys did make it into the second round. The senders are unfortunately out, but they did a fantastic job against these USAC athletes. Next up in the bracket B for this first round of climbing, we have the Slow Bros. And the other team is going to be SCT-ish, a team of local youth climbers, another team to keep an eye on. The two climbers from SCT-ish are Jenny Jiang and Jenna Wong. And Jenna is going to be going to Worlds for speed climbing, so that should say something about how Jenna does today. We are dealing with a little bit of rain here, though. So long as it's manageable, we're going to go ahead and push through. I'll keep you guys updated if there's any change in that news. Jenna's on the deck. She's got her jacket on, her Team USA jacket, because she will be climbing again for the USA climbing team in China this year as a youth competitor against some of the best climbers in the world. Good job, guys. I bet. I'm getting a little bit of a report here from Tim that the holds are getting a little damp up top. And though they do have some texture, a little bit of moisture will make that slippery. Also, if you've been paying attention, the upper pitch of this wall is a... The upper pitch of this wall has some angles to it and a little bit of texture there. So oftentimes the climbers can utilize the angles to step on instead of using just the climbing holds that are screwed onto the wall. But again, as that upper pitch gets wet from this little bit of drizzle that we've got going on, their feet can slip, and that can be a dangerous thing for these competitors because if they slip, that climber is disqualified and his time will be 0. For those of you who are just joining us, it is a combined time of speed because these climbers are on teams of 2. So in order for them to have a good time, both climbers need to be able to make it up to the top of the climb in a decent time, and we'll add both of those up and see how they compare. We're just getting switched over here. Climbing for the Slow Bros is local climber Marcus Voss. Marcus is up against Jenna, and he sees this as a disadvantage because of Jenna's speed climbing abilities. However, Marcus is a very tall guy and can do a little bit better of reaching. Here they go. They are off. Jenna's off to an early lead. Marcus's feet are slipping. The holds are getting a little wet, guys, but they're going to do their best not to fall off because, again, it is combined times. If you're in the crowd, please cheer these people up the wall. They go faster. It's kind of like a fuel to competitors when they hear people yelling and screaming for them. And the louder it is, the better that fuel is. It's the difference between a couple of twigs in a fire and some jet fuel. So get loud and get these climbers up the wall. Marcus has made it onto the second pitch. Marcus is surprisingly not too far behind Jenna. She may be maintaining some energy because that upper pitch does get a little thin in holds. And also, whoever wins, as I said, does go on to the next round, which means they have to climb it again. And if they make it to that third round, they will have to climb it again. So they're going to be climbing 164 feet 3 times if they make it to that final round. You can do the math. It's a lot of climbing. Jenna's made it over the lip. Marcus is not far behind, though. He just pulled the lip. They are neck and neck. And again, as the rain kind of hits the wall, we're getting a little bit less texture. They're going to be slipping a little more. So they're being careful because if they slip off, their scores do not count. Anything you want me to add? Marcus appears to have pulled a little bit ahead. They're neck and neck right now. Again, that sensor up at the top is what they have to do. They have to break the laser by tapping the sensor with their hand in order to stop the timer. Jenna looks like she's got a little bit of a lead, but Marcus is very tall. He could possibly reach it. And it looks like Jenna has reached the top. She has made it to the finish. And Marcus just finished as well. That's pretty close, which means that the next round is going to be, again, neck and neck with Jenny Jang. She's going to be for Team SCT over on the blue side. Jenny is also a national climber for SCT climbing. She went to nationals this year and did very well. Another seasoned athlete here from Reno, Nevada, the local nonprofit Sierra climbing team. And Marcus's teammate on the Slow Bros team is going to be Josh Wiltsey, another local climber. He's been climbing here in the Reno area for a long time. You may see appearances of him at Rock Sport Climbing Gym or here at base camp. So even though Team SCT-ish has a little bit of a lead, Jenna only beat Marcus by just a little bit, which means that if Josh can pull ahead of Jenny, or if by some fateful chance Jenny's foot slips and she isn't able to make it to the top, that could be the deciding factor on which team is going to make it into the next round. Thanks again to all of you who came out and are standing out there in the rain and the wind. Thankfully, the rain has not come in too hard. We're still able to carry on with this competition. If anything changes, I will be letting you guys know. But kudos to all of you who are standing out there. And thanks to anybody who's watching right now on the live stream. It is the first year we've been able to do a live stream. I want to give a big thanks to Matt Grossman at MG Digital Artists. Matt is sitting out here under a tent managing all of this. Matt himself was a USAC youth climber, and he has put his heart and soul into some of these digital productions. He's recently done the live stream of Touchstone Climbing's climbing series, so he's out here killing it in the rain. We're just getting switched over here. Again, this is a combined speed climbing competition. There are teams of 2 if you're just joining us, and The two teams up right now are the Slow Bros. They will be over on the red side, and on the blue side will be Team SCT-ish. The first climber of Team SCT-ish was Jenna Wong, and she got the best of Marcus Voss by just a little bit, which means that Josh Hiltze needs to do just a little better than Jenny. Up are going to be Climaclabra and Sending Sharks. These climbers are just going to get started. We've got them on the starting podiums right now. Again, if Josh can best Jenny, we may see Slow Bros make it into the next round. However, he does need to beat her by a significant amount. Jenny's having trouble finding some traction with her feet. It has been sprinkling out here, so there's a little bit of water on the holds in the wall. But these strong climbers, they just need to make sure to hold on and get enough friction to push themselves up to the next hold. They're approaching the first lip of this first pitch. It is 70 feet up, and they have to pull the top of the lip, as Jenny just did. These climbers here are kind of playing a game of conserving energy for the next round if they make it, but also beating the climber next to them. So if you have a little bit of a lead, you can slow down a bit. But if you're right on their tail, everybody's got to go at high speed. It does appear that they're close. Jenny's got a little bit of a lead over Josh. Let's cheer Josh up the wall. He's trying his absolute best to just make any headway he can. It also gets pretty windy up there. So they're battling the wind, the cold, the rain, each other. Human elements against nature's elements. Josh is just getting over this lip, and Jenny has a little bit of a lead, which is looking good for Team SCT-ish for the next round. But again, if she slips even at the last move, that time will count as 0. So we do need to make sure that Jenny makes it all the way up to the top. She's got a little bit of time to shake out and rest here. Come on, Josh. Jenny's almost there. She's so close. This year at Youth Nationals, Jenny did amazingly in difficulty, which means that she competed against some of the best kids in the nation. Ended up making it all the way to the finals and doing quite well. She just finished. Good job, Jenny. That secures the spot for SCT-ish into round 2. And while the Slow Bros did an amazing job against these two youth athletes, they will unfortunately be warming themselves inside during the next round. Or fortunately, I guess it depends how you look at it. If you guys are watching on the live stream, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you guys are taking any photos down there or want to comment, please hashtag Rapid Ascent Comp. That way we can see what you guys are talking about, find a way to respond, and thank you all for watching the Rapid Ascent competition here at Whitney Peak Hotel Base Camp Climbing Gym. It's on the Base Camp, the Base Camp Facebook. So our next teams coming out are Team Climaclabra and the Sending Sharks. First out for Team Climaclabra is going to be AJ Falstich. And first out for the Sending Sharks is going to be Trevor Carter. AJ is a local climber. He climbs here at base camp. This is his home gym. So he may or may not have some experience on this wall. I'm not sure where they came up with Team Climaclabra, but it's definitely an interesting name. His teammate, Carson Wagner, they're besties, the best of friends, and that's how they found each other for this team. They're two psyched young individuals who are going to be trying to best the climbers of the Sending Sharks, Trevor Carter and Christopher Ross. Again, first up is going to be AJ Falstich for Climaclabra. He's going to be over on the red route on the right side there. And first up for the Sending Sharks, Trevor Carter is going to be over on the blue side. And then, in case you're just joining us, their teammates will be swapping to the opposite color just for fairness, in case one route is just a touch harder than the other route. And their times will be combined to find out who moves on to the next round. The route setters this week did their absolute best to make sure that these routes were set as close to possible, as closely as possible in difficulty to each other, using the same holds when possible and using the same movements when possible. There are very slight differences, but we foreran these, made sure that they worked and that they were as close to the same difficulty as we could make them. Just a little bit of shout out while we have some downtime here to some of our other sponsors of this 2016 Rapid Ascent competition. We have Nature's Bakery. They're actually a local bakery. You may see their delicious fig bars and apple cinnamon fig bars and other delicious flavors in the stores. You can pick them up here at base camp and at some of your local climbing gyms. Nature's Bakery is delicious. Make sure to check them out. All right, these climbers are getting ready. We're about to kick off the second round of Bracket A, the second climbers of Bracket A here. In the red, we have AJ Falstich, and over on the other side in the blue, on the blue route, we have Carson Wagner. All right, and they are off. There is a bit of strategy in trying to decide how you're going to manage this first pitch, because if you speed all the way through it and make it ahead of the other team. Who's the other one? The other one is Carson Wagner. Or I'm sorry, no. Trevor Carter. If you do speed through this first pitch and get ahead, you are able to go a little slower later on. However, if you take your time, you're going to be able to save a little bit of energy. It's the old tortoise and the hare routine, I suppose. Who's on the blue side again? Oh. It seems that Trevor Carter has just pulled the lip and is starting on the second pitch. A lot of these moves tend to be a little bit dynamic, so that these climbers are forced to really move up to the next one. Again, on the second pitch, it is a little more three-dimensional than just the flat panels of the first pitch. And so you end up being able to smear on the natural features and utilize them so long as the rain hasn't made them slick and slippery. It looks like Trevor Carter of the Sending Sharks has a little bit of a lead over AJ Falstich of Climaclabra. But again, they both have to make it to the top in order for their times to count. And then on top of that, their team member has to come out and has a second opportunity to beat the other team. And then their combined times are what decides if they can move on to the next round. The Sending Sharks have made it over the lip of the overhang, with Climaclabra just right behind him underneath it. Climaclabra. Of the one. Come on, AJ. You can do it, man. Catch up to Trevor. This is 164 feet of climbing, so these climbers do get tired. Even though they're all experienced and they climb regularly, weekly, maybe even daily, climbing 164 feet in a row is definitely going to tire you out. Doesn't matter who you are. All right, we have Trevor Carter of the Sending Sharks approaching the last couple moves, though. If he does happen to slip, it may not count. Let's see if he makes it. And he does. That gives the Sending Sharks a little bit of an advantage over Climaclabra. However, the time between now and when AJ finishes is the time that will be needed to be made up by Carson Wagner, AJ's teammate, as they swap for the next round. Just as a fun little aside, AJ's biggest fear is ghosts and demons. We had them fill out a fun little questionnaire. That's just a fact about AJ. Thank God it's not heights, because he just finished the top of the 164-foot climbing wall, the tallest climbing wall in the world. This wall here at base camp became the tallest climbing wall in the world 5 years ago when it opened. Before that, the other tallest climbing wall, the second one now, is in the Netherlands, and they call it the Excalibur. If you guys have an opportunity, those of you sitting at home or those of you with cell phones, look it up. The Excalibur is a very impressive climbing wall. But it only stands at 121 feet, which puts it about 45 feet short of this climbing wall. So, sorry, Netherlands, we've got you beat. For all you chilly folks down there on the street, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys being down here. Roundabout Catering, the restaurant that is on the first floor of Whitney Peak Hotel, is doing drinks down there. They're the chilly folks standing behind the booth. So, yep, there he is waving his hand. Go ahead and visit them. Get yourselves a beer, soda, Red Bull, water. Maybe it'll take the bite off the chill out here. AJ's just finishing lowering down that first pitch there, and as soon as he touches ground, we're going to switch teammates and get the second teammate of this round started. Next up for Team Sending Sharks is Christopher Ross. Christopher, wave to the crowd. All right. Well, Christopher's up there. He's getting ready to go. Got to get him tied in, along with Carson Wagner, other teammate of Climaclabra. As I said before, Carson Wagner and AJ Fallstitch are best friends. They are besties. That is how they decide to compete with each other here at the 2016 Rapid Ascent competition. They're hugging it out right now, giving each other some good vibes for this round. Again, Carson has to make up a little bit of time, but he looks ready to do that. You ready, Carson? He's nodding. He's ready. He's giving me a thumbs up. These two have known each other for 11 years, and considering that they are 18, that is a long time, almost a lifetime for these youngins. And while AJ's biggest fear was ghosts and demons, it appears that Carson's biggest fear is spiders or seeing a ghost in the mirror, which is something I believe we're all afraid of at a certain age. All right, a little fist pound from these two competitors, Carson Wagner of Climaclabra and Christopher Ross of the Sending Sharks. They are on the podium and getting ready to go. It's a little bit of hype from his teammate, AJ, as Carson gets up ready to go. They're getting ready. Here we go. Feet up. And they have begun. Christopher Ross has just a little bit of a lead, but at this stage in the race, Carson Wagner is just a hold or two behind him. Again, the holds on this wall are pretty good, and these are seasoned competitors, but the length alone is enough to wear these guys out. It's not every day you get to climb a wall this tall. Even if you live in this area, you don't do it that often. Though they did have some practice here early this afternoon. There was a practice session. All the competitors were out here running this route, so they do know the holds a little bit. They know the movements. They know how fast they can go and how much they need to conserve their energy. They've pulled the first pitch, and it appears that Christopher Ross is in the lead. If Christopher Ross can make it to the top of this climb, he's going to be able to clinch this round for the Sending Sharks and send Climaclabras packing. So it's in Christopher's best interest to stay in the lead here. Although starting in the lead, he is able to conserve some energy. Christopher Ross is approaching the overhang lip here on the upper pitch. The holds are pretty good, but again, it uses some significant core tension just to lean out over this lip, reach up, and then bring your legs up high to continue on past it. And at this point, they're getting a little tired, I'm guessing. So we'll see how they do. Carson Wagner's just approaching the lip on the heels of Christopher Ross. Maybe he has a secret tank of gas he's going to kick into high gear here, try and catch Christopher Ross unawares. Let's find out if he does, guys. Let's cheer him on. Remember, the louder you get, the faster these guys are bound to go. Thanks to the one guy in the crowd who's yelling right now. Come on, everybody. There we go. It looks like Carson Wagner of Climaclabra is making some decent time up over Christopher Ross of the Sending Sharks. Carson, your teammate is down here yelling for you, man. You better keep going. He has taken the lead over Christopher Ross. Again, the Sending Sharks are technically in the lead, but it is combined time. So if Carson Wagner can beat Christopher Ross by enough time, that will actually kick the Sending Sharks to the curb and send Climaclabra into the next round. Let's see if he can do it. Christopher Ross, you better pick it up, buddy. Let's go, guys. It is neck and neck right now.
Doing great. Red Bull?
I'm doing great.
Vegetarian Chinese food?
No way. It's down to the last couple moves here. It looks like Christopher Ross has finished. That was a close one. Good job, Christopher. That puts the Sending Sharks into the next round. And sorry, Climacolabra, maybe next year. They had a lot of enthusiasm. So as we wait for these guys to be lowered down, it does take a little bit of a minute, and then we've got to switch over. Just a little bit about Christopher Ross here. Christopher Ross has known his teammate for 2 weeks. And when you compare to Climbing Club, where they have known each other for 11 years, that's doing pretty good working together as a team. Christopher Ross is the man dangling in the red sweatshirt. He just sealed the deal for the Sending Sharks. Maybe a little tired, but when you get down, you need to rest it up, Christopher Ross, because you guys are in the next round. There are 8 teams in this competition. 6 of them have gone. And that means the last 2 teams to go are the last 2 in round 1. And maybe coincidentally, one of those last teams' name is Last Minute. I believe they were thrown together just at the last minute, but they are ready to rock and roll. One of those climbers, and I believe first up, is going to be Jason Miller. Got a little woo from the crowd down there for Jason Miller. Jason, are you ready for this? Jason says, oh yeah, he is ready. He's got his warm puffy on, conserving that energy, keeping his muscles warm, and he is lacing up his shoes right now. The other team, their name is Da Bears. For those of you old enough to know that one, for those of you who are Saturday Night Live fans, Da Bears. First up, we have Tyler Balfour. Jason Miller is 33 years old. I don't know if that makes him old or young to be doing this, but he's going to do it. His hometown is Santa Clara, California, and you can find Jason over on the blue route in just a moment. Again, he is the first climber for Last Minute, a team thrown together just at the last minute. Sorry, my apologies. It appears that Jason will be climbing on the red route. They did a little switcheroo just now. I'll try and hold this thing as much as I can, just like this, if it helps.
We'll just ask.
Yeah.
So I think what we might do is after we run this, figure out who the 3rd and 4th place are, have them run, and then have 1st and 2nd run, and then just call it.
Okay.
Don't confirm that yet.
Yeah, that's fine. So over on the blue side for Team Da Bears, we have Tyler Balfour. Tyler's just getting tied in, getting ready to go. I need one more hand. That's what I need. Tyler's home climbing gym is Stone Summit, Atlanta. That is in Atlanta, Georgia, for those of you geographically challenged. That's actually also the climbing gym that has hosted the USAC Youth Climbing Nationals for many years. So I'm sure this man has seen many people run the speed climbing wall. Maybe he's picked up a few tips. These guys are up on the podium and getting ready to go. Double checking their knots. Very important thing to do. It appears that the belayers are ready to go. Gloves and jackets on. They've got their action belay stance going. And we're about ready to get this going. Got a couple more regulars showing up in the crowd down there. Crowd's getting a little bigger. Everybody staying warm. And they are off. Tyler Balfour is on the blue side there, climber out of Atlanta, Georgia. He seems to have a little bit of reach on the climber of last minute, Jason Miller. That just means that Jason Miller is going to have to move a little bit faster, a little more explosive maybe. But it appears that Jason is up to the challenge. They're approaching the lip of the first pitch. They then have to top that lip out and begin up the second pitch. We haven't seen much rain recently. Thank you. Sorry, I don't want to jinx anything. I just got the eyes from base camp manager Brian Sweeney. Sorry, Brian. We thankfully haven't seen any rain recently, and we hope that continues, which means that upper pitch is hopefully dry, which means they will be able to smear on the natural features, gain a little bit of friction, doesn't restrict them to just using the holds. And for those of you who are just joining us or haven't been paying attention, we should be getting a little bit of weather here. We're trying to hold that off. Nature has been nice to us thus far. Tyler Balfour on the blue route is reaching that first overhang. Has to use a little bit more core muscle just to get over that. So it will slow him down a little bit and give Jason Miller a chance to catch up. Keep in mind, guys, this is a lot of climbing to be doing, all in one go. For those climbers who think that this is an easy thing, 164 feet is no joke. Tyler Balfour has made it up over the overhang. Didn't seem to be much of a problem for him, and he is still cruising. Again, if they make it into the next round, they will have to climb this again, so he needs to keep in mind to conserve some energy. Whereas, unfortunately, Jason Miller is going to have to ramp up here. Oh, and Jason is off. Unfortunately for his team, the last minute, that means that Jason's time is going to be 0, and their only hope to make it to the next round is if the teammate of Tyler Balfour for the Bears, his teammate being Ryan Koshin, if he can make it, or if he slips, that would be the only saving grace for Team Last Minute. Tyler Balfour is just making up to the top. He is just tapped the sensor, stopping the time. And will begin his descent on down the wall. So again, these guys are getting lowered down. As soon as their feet touch the ground, their teammates are going to swap places with them. And we are going to see a head-to-head against their teammates. As it stands, the Bears have the best chance of making it into the next round. This is the last team of this first round. And after this, we're going to see a head-to-head against some of the climbers who won their rounds earlier on. Thanks again to Red Bull, Whitney Peak, and Base Camp Climbing Gym for putting this on. If you guys are watching at home, definitely let us know how you're liking it. Comment, visit us on Facebook and Instagram, and make sure that you hashtag Rapid Ascent Comp so that we can take a look at all those, respond, and do what we can to get back to you guys. Thanks to everybody standing in the cold. Most of you are probably locals or deal with cold on a regular basis. You're all jacketed up. No? A couple guys shaking their head. That guy's got a t-shirt on. And shorts. Wow. You're a champion, sir. You're a champion. Oh, he's Canadian. You're totally good with the cold then. Don't even worry about it. Speaking of Canadians, one of our other sponsors, Flashed Climbing up in Canada. Big thanks to them for sending out some prizes for the competitors. Flashed Climbing makes flooring systems for climbing gyms, crash pads, chalk bags, climbing brushes, and they're a fantastic group of guys. So make sure you go over and check out Flashed Climbing over at flashedclimbing.com. Let them know we sent you over there. Let them know that Rapid Ascent's the coolest comp you guys have ever seen. Ever. There's only a few bracketed speed climbing competitions, only two that I can think of off the top of my head, the other being Sika Block climbing competition. They're in Salt Lake, and they do a climbing competition up in Park City over a gigantic pool of water without ropes. It is terrifying, and we would not subject people to that here. But this wall is terrifying in its own right because it's 164 feet off of the climbing deck, which is a lot of feet to be climbing in one go. And once you get up there, you have a beautiful view of downtown Reno. In fact, you can see all the way into Sparks from that height. It looks like the two climbers are ready to go. That is Rusty for Team Last Minute and Ryan Koshin for the Bears. Ryan Koshin is climbing over on the right side there in the plaid, making his way up the wall. Though it appears that Rusty has a little bit of a lead on him, not by much. Again, in this first pitch, it's more about maintaining and conserving some energy. Just trying to maintain a little bit of a lead ahead of the competitor you were climbing against. Rusty is a local climber. And thankfully, he flew over here from work at 4 o'clock to make sure that he made it here to climb for Team Last Minute. I mean, that's very last minute. The comp had actually already started when Rusty arrived. They've made it up over the first pitch now. So from what I can see, it looks like Rusty is maintaining his lead. Though again, that can be a troublesome way to go about this because you can end up burning yourself out if you go too fast. However, it's tricky if you let somebody catch up as well. There's a little bit of strategy, a little bit of speed, and a whole lot of holding on and climbing. It appears that Ryan lost his beanie on the way down. Let's see if that makes him any more aerodynamic. Rusty's pulling over that lip there on the overhang, getting poised to continue up the rest of the vertical on this second pitch. He's maintaining his lead, cruising, making sure that he does not slip, makes it into that next round. Again, the hashtag for this Red Bull Rapid Ascent comp here at Whitney Peak Base Camp Climbing Gym is Rapid Ascent Comp. That's hashtag Rapid Ascent Comp. And if you're taking photos down there in the crowd, if you're watching on the live stream, make sure that you're hashtagging Rapid Ascent Comp, and we can use those photos and those comments to enlighten other individuals on the internet. Yeah, hey, you guys, I need to know what's happening next round by the time these people hit the ground. going. I also need somebody to write the winners, obviously, so I can look at it.
I'm doing it right here, Johnny.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have Rusty finishing the climb.
Jake.
Fell last time? Jason Miller of Last Minute unfortunately did not get to finish the route, so his time is 0. Even though Rusty finished first, unfortunately, they only have half a time. So, therefore, if Ryan Koshin can just finish the route, that's all he needs to do to send the Bears into the next round. As soon as these guys hit the ground, we're going to have a quick minute to go ahead and put the brackets back together, and we'll get the next teams out here and begin round 2. Ryan Koshin is approaching the end of the route. Let's try and cheer him on to the end of this thing, you guys. All he needs to do is finish this, and he's probably getting pretty tired. So there will be a rest time. He has made it to the top. That sends the Bears into the next round. There's going to be a little bit of a time lapse here as we set up the next brackets and then get the next climbers out. The winners of this first round will go head-to-head in round 2. That'll make it the second time that these climbers have climbed this wall, meaning that they're going to be more tired and there will be more of a chance for them to not make it to the top. Now again, their times are based on a combined team time, which means, as we just saw, if one of them doesn't make it, then their time does not count. So as they get more tired, more of a chance to fall.
The challenge of my life is to find out how far I can take it.
The only thing that you can think of is that moment right there.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
If you believe in it, then anything is possible.
Rapid Ascent is brought to you in part by Whitney Peak Hotel, located in the heart of downtown Reno. Whitney Peak Hotel is Reno's only non-smoking, non-gaming, full-service independent hotel. Whitney Peak includes Roundabout Grill, a full-service restaurant, base camp climbing gym, and cargo concert hall.
And for those of you watching at home, we are back. That was a commercial for Whitney Peak, the host of this competition. This 164-foot climbing wall, the tallest in the world, is on the outside of the Whitney Peak Hotel. They are an outdoor-themed, non-gaming, non-smoking hotel. Fantastic place for anybody visiting Reno, Nevada. And they have a 7,000-square-foot bouldering gym inside on the second floor. Beautiful space, along with this gigantic climbing wall on the outside. If you haven't visited, please do. We're about to begin this round 2 here at the 2016 Rapid Ascent climbing competition. Next up, the winners of round 1, we have the Booch Boys. You may remember them as the young bucks from the Bay Area. They are climbers out of the Bay Area, youth climbers who climb for the USA Climbing. They've competed in many youth national climbing competitions and are one of the teams to watch as we move along. There's a good chance that they will be in round 3 if the other team for this round, the Sending Sharks, can't beat them out. So we're just getting these two teams out here. Again, the Booch boys are Ross Fulkerson and Tim Kang. And then for the Sending Sharks, we have Trevor Carter and Christopher Ross. The Booch boys just walked out onto the deck. I can see the enthusiasm in their face. A little holler from Tim over there. Getting warmed up, getting tied in, getting ready to run up this wall for the second time tonight. Along with the practice sessions, they're going to be doing a whole lot of laps up this wall. But don't worry, they can do it. Whenever you're done with that, can you just hand it to me with Trevor or Christopher on page flipped open just so I can have their info? All right, it appears that Ross Fulkerson is getting ready. He's popping those shoes on. If you guys don't know about climbing shoes, they are worn awfully tight like socks, and so sometimes it can be a challenge just to pop them on over your heels. Again, that hashtag for social media is Rapid Ascent Comp. So hashtag any of the photos you're taking there down there on the street. And also while you're down there on the street, visit the Roundabout Catering stand. They've got drinks over there that you can get. Also, there's some Red Bull girls wandering around with Red Bull backpacks handing out drinks. If you guys need a little bit of a kick, if you need some wings, as they say, visit those Red Bull girls, and I'm sure they may have something for you. We're getting ready to go here for round 2 of the 2016 second annual Rapid Ascent competition here at Whitney Peak Climbing Gym, the Base Camp Climbing Gym at Whitney Peak. Over on the left side, we have Ross Fulkerson of the Booch Boys on the blue route. And over on the right side on the red route, we have Trevor Carter of the Sending Sharks. Both of these teams have already won, which means that the competition is much higher now. Ross Fulkerson, again, a USA climbing youth competitor out of the Bay Area, is no stranger to competition. He's been competing since he was just a tyke. And now he is a USA team climber. He's won multiple national climbing competitions. These two are flying up the wall now. Again, on this pitch, the wall is textured, but it is vertical, so they can get a little bit of friction with their feet as you see them hop their feet up. Ross is making some good advances, cruising up this wall, trying to get a little bit of speed over Trevor Carter, give himself the advantage. The better these climbers do with their time determines how hard their teammates need to work in the next round. If you're just joining us online, the way this climbing competition works is a team event. It is bracketed. The first members of the team go head-to-head against the other team, and after their time is recorded, their team members then swap routes and climb for the combined time, and the winners with the best time move on to the next round. These climbers are cruising. Ross does have a significant lead over Trevor Carter of the Sending Sharks. But again, he is only one half of this round. And if one of them happens to slip, which has happened and can happen, before they reach the finish, their time does not count. Ross is just pulling the lip up here. Trevor Carter is doing his absolute best to catch up, trying to turn up the speed. Again, these climbers thrive on cheers from the crowd, and as the crowd is getting bigger, it should be getting louder. Let's cheer these guys up the wall and hopefully give Trevor Carter a boost. Come on, guys. We are catching a couple raindrops here on the deck, but it is not slowing these guys down. Ross is approaching the top, but Trevor Carter can't stop because the distance in time between these two depends on how hard their teammates have to work in the next round. Ross has finished the climb, putting the Booch boys ahead in the lead by just a little bit as Trevor Carter is attempting to finish his climb here. If you guys are watching at home, this live stream is presented by Matt Grossman of MG Digital Artists, and you can see this beautiful shot of Trevor Carter just finishing the climb. We've got a camera up there at the top of the wall. And here he goes. He is finished. The difference in time between Ross and Trevor there is what Trevor's teammate Christopher Ross is going to have to make up in this next round in order for them to make it on to the final round. We are getting a little bit of rain here. However, we're going to keep going as long as we can to keep these climbers on the wall. Thanks again to everybody standing out in the crowd, came out to watch this event. We appreciate you guys being out here in the rain, in the cold. Please do visit the Black Diamond van over there. He's got some ropes and some harnesses and some gear that he can show you from Black Diamond. Also, a very comfy bench made out of a crash pad. Black Diamond is one of the sponsors providing some chalk bags for all the competitors and some prizes. They've partnered with us for the last 2 years for this competition. We really appreciate Black Diamond's support along with Adidas Outdoor, Flash Climbing. Along with Nature's Bakery, and of course, one of the hosts of this competition, Red Bull, of whom this competition would not be possible without their support. Gearing up and maybe looking a little nervous here is Tim King. Tim, are you nervous? Tim is not nervous. He is psyched. He's ready to climb, even though there are raindrops on this wall. All that means is that he's going to have to focus up just a little bit more when it comes to holding onto the grip. As these holds get wet, they will get a little slippery, but Tim is an expert. Tim trains in the rain, don't you, Tim? He is of the Bay Area. Every now and then, I'm sure he is subject to rainstorms and fog. The other competitor for the Sending Sharks is Christopher Ross. Christopher did a fantastic job in round one. They're just getting tied in here, and then we're going to begin the second half of this round 2 of the Rapid Ascent Climbing Competition. Again, if you're taking photos, make sure to hashtag them with Rapid Ascent Comp on Facebook or Instagram. These climbers are getting ready to do this climb. They are looking so psyched and so ready. We are just in a little bit of a holding pattern here as the final climber is being lowered down. Trevor Carter finishing his climb, just needs to untie. We will get Tim King tied in, and we will continue with round 2 of Rapid Ascent. Also, for those of you who are standing down here in the crowd or any of the competitors, tonight is the showing of the Real Rock climbing video down in Cargo, the venue space in the Whitney Peak Hotel. That's right, if you didn't think they had enough things here at the Whitney Peak Hotel, they also have fantastic concert and venue space. And tonight they will be showing that Real Rock film. It is $17, and it's a fantastic film. They've got five climbing films, I believe, in it, and it's a bunch of outdoor movies about rock climbers in treacherous and beautiful situations. So if you guys aren't doing anything this evening, I believe the doors open at 7:30. It's $17. It's a fantastic date night thing. These climbers are getting ready. Tim's just chalking up. And they have begun. Tim is taking a very quick lead, trying to make sure that there is no way to be caught by Christopher Ross. Christopher, taking his time, could have the advantage playing the tortoise and hare game, because if Tim Kang ends up slipping, his score does not count. And then in that case, all Christopher Ross has to do is finish the climb. However, if Tim is able to complete the route at this speed, which has potential to be the fastest tonight, then the Sending Sharks will be packing it up and heading home. We've got Christopher Ross just topping out the first pitch here over on the blue route, and Tim Kang making his way almost halfway up the second pitch already. This is the fastest we've seen anybody climb tonight. Tim is really powering through, and what he should keep in mind is that he's still got to climb this one more time if they make it into the next round. Chris just getting started here on the second pitch, I'm sure, is just hoping that Tim makes a mistake and slips off, especially as these raindrops are making these holds just a little bit wet. We'll see some reduction in friction on the holds. With a quick weather report here from Ross Fulkerson, who just climbed for the Booch Boys. He's telling me that he didn't quite notice that the holds were that wet yet. So thankfully the friction there is holding up for Tim. Tim is making impressive time up this wall. He's taking his time, and you can see him just finishing there. There we go. Good job, Tim. And with that, they seal the deal, moving the Booch Boys into the final round here at the 2016 Rapid Ascent competition, with Christopher Ross just climbing for fun now. How's everybody doing down there in the crowd? Still doing great. And our Canadian friend down there, loudest of them all. Everybody should match him. Come on, Chris, you got it, man. Tim is trying to psych up the crowd here in support of Christopher Ross finishing this up, getting to the top. That's some good sportsmanship. Again, Chris doesn't have to finish this, but he's just proving that he can at this point. It is not an easy task to climb this once, let alone twice. And he is making easy work of it right now. And that is it for the Sending Sharks. Good job to Christopher Ross and Trevor Carter making it past the first round and doing their absolute best here in the second round. This is going to put the Booch Boys into the final round. They're going to go inside and warm up, stretch out, try and get rid of any of that forearm pump and the lactic acid built up in their muscles for whoever it may be that will make it into that final round with them. Next up, we are going to have Team SCT-ish. Again, those are two local female climbers from the youth climbing team here in Reno, Nevada. They're of the nonprofit Sierra Climbing Team, and Jenny Jang was she made it to the national climbing competition in Atlanta. She did a fantastic job in difficulty and in speed. And Jenna Wong has been competing since she was just a tiny tyke, and Jenna has now made it onto the U.S. climbing team for speed. So she's going to be heading to China later this month to compete for the U.S. As a fun update, Ross Fulkerson of the Booch Boys, Jenny Jang, and Jenna Wong are all going to China to compete for Team USA. So what you guys are seeing here are three of the strongest youth competitors in the U.S. here who have been to regionals, divisionals, nationals, and are now going to worlds. These are the people you're seeing compete. I don't know. Whoever's going first. Tied in for SCT-ish, we have Jenna Wong on one side. Tying in for the Bears. Who do we have tying in for the Bears? We're just awaiting one of the teammates from the Bears to step up and tie in over onto the blue route. The rain is coming in a little bit here, but we're going to keep pushing this as long as we can. As long as these competitors are psyched to run up the wall, then we will keep on going. It appears that we have Tyler Balfour stepping up for the Bears on the blue route, getting ready to face off against Jenna Wong in the last climb of round 2 of the rapid ascent climbing competition. All right, these climbers are getting ready. Just about to get started. It appears the belayers are ready to go. Resuming their action stance. And they're off. Jenna trying to get off to a quick start with a foot slip. Again, the rain is coming down lightly, and these holes are about to get slipperier. Where they used to be able to smear on the textured wall's surface, they may not be able to now, which could slow them down and potentially make them slip off the wall, making their scores 0 for their team in that time. We're hoping that doesn't happen here, and that is a race to the finish up this wall for the Bears and Team SCT-ish. All you fantastic people standing in the rain, let's hear you cheer. Tyler's just pulling the lip over on the blue route there. Chalking up and getting ready to keep cruising up this wall. I'm sure those holes are getting a little wet right now. Jenna's about a third of the way up that second pitch, and even though that wall is textured and has some natural features, they may be slippery, so she may or may not want to rely on her feet sticking to them. Again, Jenna was this year's USA Climbing Youth Champ. She is number 1 in the U.S. right now for speed climbing. Jenna just approaching the overhang lip, getting a respite from the rain, I'm sure. But she can't stop there because Tyler Balfour is hot on her heels, just approaching the overhang himself. This is the second time that they've climbed this during the competition, and these climbers have got to be getting a little tired, but they have to save some energy because there is one more round for whoever ends up winning. Cruising up this route for Team SCT is Sierra Climbing Team, a non-pro Reno who operates out of both Rocks. We've sent many kids to nationals, and this is, you can see if you're watching at home on the live stream with that. Tyler Balfour is not far behind, which means that if Jenny, there could be a chance for the Bears to make it into the final round. We will see when these climbers get lowered down and trade out. I cannot say enough for all these fantastic people standing out here in the rain holding it down. It's a little chilly, it's a little moist, and there's a lot of smiles on their faces. And for all of you sitting at home watching this on the live stream, comfy on your couches, shame on you. I'm just kidding. Please keep us notified of how you're liking the competition. Any photos you guys take, hashtag them with Rapid Ascent Comp. That is hashtag Rapid Ascent Comp. You can find the link to the live stream on the Basecamp Facebook if you're not already there.
Rather exciting getting that camera down from up there, huh?
All around, which means they are going to be switching sides. So Team SCT-ish will be over on the blue side, and we have the Bears over on the red side.
So these guys are out. These guys, and now Jenna and Tyler win. So now it's Jenny and Ryan.
All right, so we are going to take a brief technical break because it appears one of the holds up there has spun. The route setters did their absolute best to set screw every hold that could potentially spin on this route. And due to weather, most likely cold and water, we have had a hold spin on the blue route, which makes it a little unfair for the next climber and all climbers after that if we do not fix it. So there will be a quick break as the route setter will run up this wall and try and tighten this hold. Actually, it looks like we might have our fearless leader, manager of Basecamp Climbing Gym, going up the wall to tighten the hold. I believe one time Brian's philosophy was that he would never ask his staff to do anything that he wouldn't do himself, and we are seeing him prove it here. Don't you guys all want a boss like that? Again, if you guys are thirsty, head down to the Roundabout Catering stand over there. They've got some drinks that you guys can pick up. I believe there's some beers. I think I saw some Icky from Great Basin Brewery. That's a delicious beer, along with some Red Bulls and other tasty drinks.
The challenge of my life is to find out how far I can take it.
The only thing that you can think of is that moment right there.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
If you believe in it, then anything is possible.
Rapid Ascent is brought to you in part by Whitney Peak Hotel, located in the heart of downtown Reno. Whitney Peak Hotel is Reno's only non-smoking, non-gaming, full-service independent hotel. Whitney Peak includes Roundabout Grill, a full-service restaurant, Basecamp Climbing Gym, and Cargo Concert Hall.
And keep in mind, this gentleman is doing it in his tennis shoes, his approach shoes, not necessarily his climbing shoes. And while there's climbing rubber on them, it's a fantastic feat. Wait. Oh, and that's where you need to make it. So for those of you watching at home, we're again just in a quick holding pattern as a hold is fixed on the wall. Basecamp manager Brian Sweeney has run up and is tightening down the hold with all of his might. This man has been known to pull double-digit boulders, so that hold is going to be very tight, tightening it down with all of his strength. It appears he's finished, so in just a moment we will resume with these climbers up the wall in this second round of the Rapid Ascent climbing competition. Thanks again to sponsor Red Bull for hosting this event. It is not possible without them. Along to some of our other sponsors, Black Diamond, Flashed Climbing, Kilter Climbing Grips, who provided all of these beautiful holds. Kilter is one of my favorite climbing hold shapers and makers. Cannot say enough about the shapes that Ian Powell of Kilter Grips is putting out, along with his business partner, Jackie Huffley. All right, it looks like we are ready to get this going again. So while we do wait, I do want to plug again that tonight after this competition, doors open at 7:30. We have the Real Rock Film Tour happening down in Cargo, the event space of Whitney Peak Hotel. It's a fantastic film series that has a handful of climbing films of climbers who go all over the world to try some of the most outrageous climbs that you will ever see. So getting ready to climb forward to bears is Ryan Koschel. Ryan is going to be over on the red side, the right side there, and Jenny Jang, local SCT Sierra Climbing Team climber, is going to be on the blue side. As we've said before, Jenny is going to be climbing for Team USA in China. So she is definitely one to be reckoned with, along with her teammate Jenna of Team SCT-ish. They are favored to be the winners of this climbing competition. However, we will see what the Bears can do here to make up a little bit of time and hopefully be standing on that podium at the end. Climbers are getting ready. We're about to resume. Ryan just stepped up on the podium, getting ready to go, chalking up his hands. Again, it's getting a little bit wet up there, so that chalk's going to be some help to him, keeping their hands dry. All right, here we go. Belayers are ready in their belaying action stances, and these climbers are off. Both climbers are taking a conservative approach to the beginning of this climbing. It appears that Jenny's taking a little bit of a lead, but as I've said before, in this early round, this early pitch, the first pitch of this climb, it could be conservation of energy being a good strategy, a good tactic here as these climbers make it up. They do have 164 feet of climbing to do. It's a lot of climbing. Even for these highly experienced climbers, it's not every day that you climb 164 feet in one go. Most climbing walls around the United States range from 25 to 70 feet. Therefore, this pretty much doubling any climbing wall that these climbers regularly climb on if they're not climbing this specific wall. So while they have to go fast, they do have to conserve energy. They have to keep their eye on the other competitor. Keep in mind where that competitor is and how fast they're going. They're both up on the second pitch now. Jenny making good time, not trying to rush it as those holds are getting a little bit wet. Remember, if they slip, their time does not count in the combined team score. Therefore, with Jenny's teammate on SCT-ish, with Jenna already taking a little bit of a lead, Jenny's main concern is making sure that she makes it to the top of this wall. Hopefully before Ryan does, but if not, just slightly behind him in order to move on to that final round. Jenny has pulled the lip over that overhang. She's chalking up, resting her arms out. She knows she has a little bit of a lead over Ryan and is able to take a moment to rest while Ryan actually needs to turn up that speed. You guys, cheering gets these people up the wall, so let's hear it from you guys in the crowd. Come on, the louder you are, the faster they're going to go. These competitors thrive on cheers. The rain is coming down a little bit up there, but it is not stopping these climbers. Jenny's approaching the final push here. All she has to do is hang on. She has a significant lead over Ryan of Team De Bears. All she has to do is to clinch round 3 and make it into the next round for SCT-ish, is to make it to the top at this point. For those of you watching at home, there's a fantastic angle right now of Jenny climbing up. We've got a camera mounted to the top of this climbing wall. Again, thanks to the staff here at base camp getting that up. And Jenny has finished. That pretty much seals the deal for round 3, moving SCT-ish into the final slot for this rapid ascent climbing competition. As soon as these climbers get down, we're going to take a little bit of a break, let Jenny's arms depump, and then we'll get them tied back in, and we will begin the final round of Red Bull's rapid ascent climbing competition here at Whitney Peak Hotel in Reno, Nevada. And a big shout out to Ryan Koschel up there for Team De Bears. That guy is still pushing it in the rain, trying to finish up for his team. Just the last couple of holds. They may not be able to move on to the next round, but he is not giving up. This is the second time he's climbed this today, not including the practice rounds. He's probably feeling the pump a little bit, but it is not stopping him. That is some determination and some drive. All right, and Ryan has finished the climb. Good job to everybody who climbed so far in these first 2 rounds. Due to the weather, we've got to take a quick hiatus as we take those sensors down up at the top of the climb. They are not waterproof, and we don't want them to short out. They're an expensive piece of equipment, and due to the weather, it appears... Okay. Oh, okay. Scratch that. We have changed it once again due to weather.
The challenge of my life is to find out how far I can take it.
The only thing that you can think of is that moment right there.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
If you believe in it, then anything is possible.
Rapid Ascent is brought to you in part by Whitney Peak Hotel, located in the heart of downtown Reno. Whitney Peak Hotel is Reno's only non-smoking, non-gaming, full-service independent hotel. Whitney Peak includes Roundabout Grill, a full-service restaurant, base camp climbing gym, and cargo concert hall.
Those of you who are standing in the crowd know very well. Thank you for hanging out. You guys are fantastic people, champing it out in the rain and the cold to watch these competitors go head-to-head at the rapid ascent climbing competition. For those of you at home, we are just trying to get untied, get tied in. We're deciding what we're going to do here in the rain. Those sensors are not waterproof for the speed timer at the top of the wall. They may need to take them down, or we may be running it right now. Give us just a moment to confirm, and we will continue with this speed climbing competition. We did expect this weather a little bit, so we bumped the competition up, try and beat the weather. It's caught up to us a little bit, but that's not going to stop us from finishing up and finding out who the fastest competitors of these 16 are. There will be a winner at the end of all of this.
I don't know. I thought they said they were. Well, I don't see Jake or Brian. Let me call him real quick.
If you guys are sitting at home, you can most likely see on the live stream the water running down the wall. Those holds are wet, that's for sure, but these climbers are psyched. They're energetic young youth climbers. Again, we're just in a quick holding pattern as we find out what we are doing here and how to proceed here in the rain. Give us just a moment, we'll figure it out. Okay, are we just running one? Camera 3 is live. Okay, cool. I'll get them started in just a second. All right, so we are going to be running one climber from each team to try and speed this along. So those team members are going to decide who is going to be competing. It will either be Ross Fulkerson or Tim Kang against either Jenny Jang or Jenna Wong. We're going to be running one climber head-to-head for the best time of this rapid ascent climbing competition due to weather. It was not the original plan, but sometimes you can't fight nature. All right, guys, let's get this going. We're just waiting on Jenny or Jenna Jang, who are going to be competing. It appears that Tim is going to be the representative for the Booch Boys. Again, Tim, a climber out of the Bay Area. This kid has been a youth competitor for quite some time, and it looks like Team SCT-ish is trying to hedge its bets by putting USA climbing champion from the United States, Jenna Wong, up against him. This will be the third time that both of these competitors have climbed against each other, climbed up this wall. Sorry. This will be the third time they've climbed up this wall today, not including their practice round. So these climbers may be tired, but we'll find out as they go. Again, if they slip off the wall, they cannot get back on. They are done. And so with the rain, with the reduced friction, with their cold hands and their tired muscles, their only goal is to stay on the wall and make it up before the other one. Again, this is an amendment to the usual way that we would be running this. Traditionally, we would put both climbers from the teams head-to-head against each other, but due to rain, we are going to be moving to a final sudden death round, one climber against the other from Team SCT-ish and Team Booch Boys. These climbers are just getting tied in. Jenna Wong is on the podium ready to go. And the fearless leader, Brian Sweeney, and header out setter, Jake Blomquist, have made their way up to the roof. They're going to be trying to pull those timers as soon as this is done so that those timers hopefully do not short out. We can use them again in the future. But they are holding off until this round is done, and we have a winner here at the Rapid Ascent climbing competition. Thanks again to Whitney Peak Hotel, Red Bull. Thanks again to Base Camp Climbing Gym and all of our sponsors for putting this on. It wouldn't be possible without them. All right, climbers are getting ready. They're chalking up, drying off their feet. The belayers are ready. Thank you so much to these belayers. They've been out here champing with this weather, pulling in the rope for these climbers, working hard to make these climbers safe, or as safe as you can be whilst climbing. All right, here we go. The final round has begun. This is a head-to-head against number 1 ranked USA youth climber Jenna Wong and Bay Area youth climber Tim Kang. Whoever makes it to the top of this climb first is going to be the 2016 champion of this rapid ascent climbing competition. Let's hear it, guys. Cheer them on up this wall. If you guys are at home, scream and yell on your couches. They're both flying up. These competitors have been competing for years in this same region. And while they do not compete against each other, they compete against so many others who are just amazing competitors, which makes these the top competitors right now of the region. Their feet are slipping. They're holding on tight. Those holds are wet. And Tim has an early lead. He's about to reach this overhang area. Jenna's shaking out. We may be seeing a bit of fatigue from her, but she is going to keep on crushing and cruising. Again, it might be getting slippery up there. We need to make sure that they don't slip off or their time does not count. Tim's maintaining his lead. Jenna is cranking it up to level 10, trying to get up this wall. Let's hear it from the crowd. These people thrive on cheers. That's right, Tim is in the lead. Come on, Jenna. Come on, Tim. Tim needs to do his absolute best not to slip here in these final moments. All he needs to do is to get up to that timer and block the laser, and he will win for Team Booch Boys. And Tim has done it. That secures it for the Booch Boys. They have won in this alternate way of running the rapid ascent climbing competition. Unfortunately, SCT will not have a chance to make up for their team. At the top there, you can see fearless leader Brian Sweeney getting ready to pull off the timer. That is it for this year's 2016 Rapid Ascent. Thank you for everybody who's been standing out in the rain cheering these climbers on. You guys are amazing. It's no fun if you have nobody watching, so thank you so much for standing around. And congratulations to the Booch Boys. They will be winners of prizes from Black Diamond, Adidas Outdoor, Nature's Bakery, Flash Climbing, and also winners of prizes donated by Whitney Peak Hotel. They're the big winners here tonight. Thanks again to all the sponsors. Thanks again to Whitney Peak and Red Bull for putting this on. It wouldn't be possible without them. And thank you for everybody who's watching. That is it for this year's 2016 Rapid Ascent. We made it to the end. Good night, everybody.